think we are live. Yes, we are. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Timely Fit class today on payments to help you ramp up your revenue. Today, we are joined by the lovely Haylee Benton. Haylee is the founder of the Silver Fern Group, a trio of hugely successful beauty businesses, as well as the Pamper Pad, the TripAdvisor of the hair and beauty world. And she started from humble beginnings in New Zealand to creating a booming business empire. And you've also helped lots of businesses across the globe, sort of turn their salons around as well, which is amazing. So we're very, very happy and very privileged to have you with us today, talking to us about payments. So we're going to be sort of covering a few different things today, and especially with you, Haylee, you've still got businesses open out in New Zealand, so you're perfect to kind of help our UK audience know what to do when it comes to reopening, which we're sort of on the countdown now, I think, aren't we, till the 12th of April. So yeah, it's amazing to kind of have you with us and talk to us about what you've done out there and what's worked well, to give us a bit of an idea of what we can do.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming along, which is amazing. So first of all, we'll kind of, as I say, kind of post-COVID, we're finding that a lot of businesses are, sort of not using cash. They're looking at different payment options, kind of going down the more card route. Have you found anything that's kind of happened or changed in your business since you've gone back in New Zealand?
I think New Zealand's a funny one, actually, because I was just actually saying to the salon manager out there the other day that New Zealand actually doesn't use a lot of cash anyway. Like, they are very much a card-based, country from my experience. But yeah, definitely with the COVID, with the cash payments, I think more people are just wanting to just quickly whack it on a card, which is obviously you've got that limit on Apple Pay and things like that, don't you?
Yeah.
But I think probably the one thing that we've noticed a lot of is that, like, our tips have gone down, not our tips, like the staff members' tips, because obviously they get to keep them. And I think for them, it's going to be really interesting because it is nice that they get tipped, and it's I think you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, could I put this on card?" And it depends how you've got that set up as well. Because once you put the card and the tips through, the card machine, it can get really confusing for your accounts and reconciling that.
Yeah. And also kind of paying tax on tips as well, obviously, because that can kind of bump that up as well, can't it? Which isn't helpful.
That's right. You can put £10 on the card machine, but you've got to pay the card fee and the tax. And so then your staff members have really got to understand that they can't have the whole amount. So if you do decide to go that way, you just got to be really careful you're not overpaying it and losing money.
Yeah, which is never going to be a good thing. And we know from being in the industry in general that lots of staff will rely on those tips as well, won't they? It's kind of an extra boost for them.
But what they can do is, we've just been saying, like, if you do want to give a tip but you don't have any cash, maybe you can suggest that they buy a product from the staff member, or even just giving a review, or something that's really going to help boost them. You can tip in different ways, can't you?
Definitely. And I think, like you say, like reviewing in particular boosts the business in general, but also if you can name that staff member, it sort of gives them that extra personal boost as well, doesn't it? We all like hearing that praise. So kind of having that out there is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And I think we were talking before, sort of using, like you say, products to kind of boost that sale as well. We were saying before that you found with taking deposits has kind of increased that average spend of those clients as well, haven't you?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. It's like, I think we were a bit worried when we first took 50% deposits, but actually it's worked out quite well, because the client gets to the till and then they're like, oh, yeah, I forgot that I paid that. And then they're like, oh, well, I may as well buy this. Or they're just a bit more, have a bit more freedom to spend more. It's a really, it's a bit of a strange thing that it does with your mind.
It is weird, isn't it? You kind of, they kind of almost like they disconnect themselves with that money, that it's like, oh, that, you know, that's done, you know, last month or whenever I kind of booked the appointment. And so they come along kind of expecting to pay that amount, and it's not there. So
Yeah,
they're
they
like,
feel like
oh,
they've got a discount.
okay. Yeah, so all right then, I'll add a bit more on. We actually got some of the guys at Timely to look into this, and we found that businesses that take deposits are more likely, I think it's 24% more likely to also sell a product on the day if they've paid a deposit. So, you know, if you can increase that, you know, sort of £50 product, £20 product, whatever it is, you're increasing your revenue by 24%. But the interesting one was that if a gift voucher is being used, they're 50% more likely. So even though they've already paid for that voucher, they're sort of still doubling what they're spending, you know, and they're sort of, you know, adding that on. You've got 50% of people more likely to purchase a product when they're using a gift voucher. So any of these ways can kind of, I know a lot of businesses over here in particular have been selling gift vouchers through lockdown to try and increase their revenue while they've been closed. So, you know, definitely get pushing those product sales, you know, ask them at the till, you know, do you need any products today? Have you run out? You know, they've been off for God knows how long. Money isn't an option, you know, it's not an issue now, is it? You know, none of us have been able to go out. We can't eat out, we can't go anywhere, so we're not we're not spending this extra money.
I totally agree with that. I think there's going to be quite a huge boom of people wanting to buy products, wanting to book in more. I think you'll just see that, you know, people have weirdly been saving or not spending so much, so they're actually looking at spending more on themselves now. I think definitely. That's hopefully what we're going to see.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of people over the last kind of 12 months have sort of really taken a step back and gone, okay, what am I actually spending this money on? And sort of really reevaluating, like you say, what they spend on themselves. And I think that makes a massive difference. And it kind of opens up doors for more clients. You know, there's going to be more clients kind of looking for places to go, you know, looking for that kind of value. I mean, you know, we've said before, you know, when you're in our industry, you don't really get a chance to treat yourself. But I think more of our industry, more of our businesses are going to be doing that themselves, kind of perhaps not working all the hours under the sun, not, you know, booking themselves treatments to go and get things done, and kind of just looking after ourselves a bit more. And our customers are the same. They're going to be doing all the same things. And I think we've found things like lay by, afterpay, buy now, pay later is becoming more popular for that reason, that people have got a little bit more money, they don't mind spending that little bit more. Whereas if they can kind of spread those payments out, whether it's one of these, you know, sort of companies that are already set up, or, you know, it's a way that I mean, I used to do mine where I used to send a payment link. So if people couldn't afford to pay for it in one go, I would send my own payment link every month so that they could make that payment slowly and kind of get that together. I think people are more likely to be looking for those now, and kind of wanting to get that out there.
Absolutely. I mean, afterpay is going to be a huge one. Again, I know that's huge in New Zealand and Australia, and I think the UK hasn't quite seen it yet. But I think there's a huge power in the fact that, I don't know, you know, you're going to a clinic or you've got those bigger, higher priced items and you don't really have to worry about it. You know, you can pay it off over 6 months and it's just a lot more of a fluid purchase rather than a really big decision. And I think sometimes when you can give a client a little bit too much time to think about it, they might end up not doing it. So you almost want to sort of say, look, we can book you in and we'll put it through Afterpay, and it just makes it feel real seamless.
Definitely. I know I used to work in a skin clinic that did laser and things like that, and cost was always the thing that was kind of the barrier, because it is such a big lump sum. And we used to do like monthly direct debits, and it made it so much easier then, because, you know, they could put down their deposit and they could spread those payments out and still get their treatments. And I think that's the bit that that you're more likely to be comfortable with, really. And again, you know, if they're coming in week after week or month after month and they're not kind of paying in the business, they're more likely then to kind of buy products and buy gift vouchers and that kind of thing when they are in the business.
And Afterpay and lay-by are so easy to set up because it obviously just links with Timely. So it's just, I think when I first thought about it, I was like, oh no, it's going to be such an admin nightmare, or how do I get a finance company to get on board? But it's literally such an easy sync. So it's much easier than I thought it was originally going to be.
Definitely. I know I thought exactly the same thing. I sort of spent before these were kind of, because they're quite popular now, you kind of see all these other brands, here, there and everywhere. I think every clothing site possible has got one attached to them now. And it wasn't as easy to find, whereas now it's, like you say, it's so much easier because they're just there. Whereas at the time I remember thinking, oh God, I'm gonna have to kind of work this out myself and kind of put the contract together myself and all these kind of things. And like you say, being able to just sync it with Timely makes it so much easier. Just so much more of a seamless experience for clients.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
And you just don't want to make it a complex process. They're already thinking about a high ticket item. It's already a big decision. So just take that hassle out of it. But I definitely recommend to do that. Something like Afterpay or lay-by, whatever they use.
Yeah, and there's so many out there, isn't there? I know we were saying the other day, I think there's a couple that are out in the UK. There's ones that link with Timely, ones that only do retail, ones that don't do treatments. There's so many different options out there now that you can kind of really really kind of make that client experience much better by offering those different options. And I know you've got a couple of little tips with regards to client experience, because we were chatting the other day, and there's some lovely bits that you kind of added into your business, because your business is absolutely stunning with your bar, that you've kind of put in place to kind of just make that experience, make every client feel like a VIP, which is obviously something that we want to do now that they're coming back into the business. You want to kind of make them feel special, and obviously that in itself can increase the amount that clients are willing to spend with you.
Yeah, completely. And it's also just we've had the time in lockdown to like rethink our process about how we sell products, and that journey about the smell and the the feel, so that when they sit in the chair they can sort of feel the serum before they buy it, and they know what's been used in their hair when they were in the hair spa and they had the hair washed, what shampoo did we use, which conditioner did we use, and just little things as well, like how you greet a client, remembering their name and all those little special touches, like like a selection of chocolates, remembering which favorite chocolate they like, or just and even just remembering someone's drink or how they have their tea. It's like the smallest touches, and actually telling them how you remember it. Like, oh, hi, Barbara, lovely to see you again. I know you like your tea quite strong, so I hope that's okay for you. Just the sort of tweaks in the sentences that you can do. And that was one of my biggest bugbears. I think I've said it in the previous session on a podcast, is like, the reason why I built a hair salon is so that I could feel like a valued client every time. Because my old hair salons, I used to go there and they're like, oh, hi, Haylee. Yeah, I'll be there in about 10, 15 minutes. And you're like, I'm the loyal client. Aren't you meant to be treating me like royalty? Like, I'm confused at what's happening here, but you get too comfortable. So we try and make sure that every single client, no matter if they're new or they come all the time, they're treated exactly the same, and we respect them all as loyal clients. We want them to keep coming back, and that we never get too comfortable with them.
That's amazing, and it does make them feel valued, doesn't it? You walk in, and like you said, the fact that they remember what drink you like or how you like it, it just makes those little added extra little tips. I know we would quite often leave notes on client files if they were doing something, sort of after that event, if they'd gone somewhere, and so you can kind of remember and ask them about it the next time that they come in, because it does make a massive difference to how they feel. And you do, I used to have people say to me, how do you remember this stuff, how do you remember that was 6 months ago, or whatever it is, but it just makes them feel so much nicer. Have you found anything, any of that kind of stuff has changed since COVID, you know, with sort of being able to offer food and drinks and things like that? Have you gone back to it as normal?
It has been hard, and you know, I do think the experience has been you know, sort of we're restricted a lot about what we can do, but we're sort of, when we reopen, we're going into this now that we're hopefully it's going to be the last time we've locked down, and just, you know, trying to keep everything safe, but actually trying to do the client experience properly without the COVID restrictions. If there's something we can't do, like hand out a brochure, right, well, how can we make it look, you know, be on digital, online, so you're still giving them the same information but just in a different format. Don't just say, oh, you know, it's COVID so we can't do that. I just always want to try and find a workaround.
That's a really good tip, that is. So I've seen that quite a lot in restaurants where they've got QR codes for like menus and things like that, and I think, yeah, like you say, like you don't want to kind of just say to them, oh, we don't have that anymore. Like that's not going to be the best way for them to interact with you either. So yeah, if you can find a way around it, like having a QR code there, if you just scan that, it'll bring up our treatment menu, and then you can have a chat with them there and then. You're not kind of dismissing them and sending them away. Does make a huge difference to being able to sort of keep that communication.
Definitely. And especially with COVID, it's kind of just like anything you can do in the salon, especially now, sort of, you know, 3 weeks out, just like getting the smell right, getting the cleanliness right, and you're just trying to create a vibe that is sufficient for being reopened. So even though you've got a mask on, it still smells nice. You're not smelling the smell of the mask, for instance. It's everything's got to be thought about.
And everyone's going to kind of be coming back. They're excited to come back as well, aren't they? So kind of stepping into that environment and seeing us, and, you know, sort of having that welcome, and, oh, I remembered your tea, even though it's been perhaps since November since we last saw you, or, you know, Christmas. Here's that thing that I remember that you like, and, you know, don't worry about payments, like you know, you've got your saved card on account, we'll just check that out for you, you don't need to do anything. It just makes that whole experience much nicer and kind of a bit more normal for them, and kind of keeps them
totally seamless. And I think that's absolutely, it's such a good point, you know, as well, because of COVID. What you can do is sort of like, as they're checking out, even if they've put their card details in, you can basically just tell them that you are getting fully booked. Did they want to book the next 2 or 3 appointments in advance? You know, just pencil it in and sort of encourage people that you're now got an influx of people. And I'm a big advocate for trying to look ahead, and it's very, very hard in different industries. Hairdressing is great. You can look ahead to an extent by a few months. But with beauty, it might be like next week or the week after. You can't see further ahead. No one's going to think about their eyebrows like 6 weeks out. It just doesn't happen.
It's very different, isn't it, that between that hair and beauty? It seems to be quite normal to kind of book, you know, for sort of the summer if you're going away, or, you know, sort of book that, you know, 6 to 8 weeks quite regularly. But like you say, with nails and eyebrows and things like that, it's just kind of a very different experience, isn't it? Definitely yeah. It's kind of like you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my god, my eyebrows look bad today.
Really so last minute.
Definitely. So and again, like, you know, it comes back around to that. If you're asking them to book ahead, you're taking a deposit in salon. When they come in, they're more likely to spend more, and that whole process from start to finish is really, really important. That, you know, you're building that rapport with that client from the moment they walk in the door. You've got that smell, that connection with them, and then also you've got that end point where you're creating more revenue for yourself. You know, adding those little touches can make all the difference.
For sure. And just like, you know, anything you can add on, if it's a hair mask or it's a face mask whilst you're doing a massage on someone, you know, there's lots of little tweaks you can make to make the service more valuable.
Definitely. Always adding value, I think, is definitely one of the things we're really kind of really bad for in hair and beauty, is discounting all the time. Whereas if you can add value to your treatment, like you say, especially with massage and face masks and things like that, their cost is so little for that product or that time. Especially with massage, you know, it's only you doing the treatment that's kind of the cost of that. and you can naturally increase that value of that service very quickly. But yeah, we do adding value is definitely, you know, much better for revenue in terms of, you know, increasing your profit.
Yeah, absolutely. Too many discounts, and I think especially now, you know, I'd say just don't discount, you know, that, especially that first few months. Just sort of hold your ground, hold the pricing, because it's you're definitely going to be in demand. Like it's and it's so easy to think, oh, I don't have my book's completely filled, but they will get filled last minute as well.
Definitely, people are hanging on, I think, aren't they, to get booked in. You know, we get our official date in the UK on the 5th of April, and I think as soon as that comes and everyone opens their diary, it's just going to go manic. So yeah, if you're discounting, you're kind of cutting your profit. You know, you've been closed for nearly 3 months, 4 months. You know, you want to get as much in as you can by not discounting. So yeah, definitely always add value. Is
every penny counts
tip
at the moment.
yeah, definitely. Well, that's all we've got time for today, but thank you so much for coming along, Haylee. It's been absolutely fantastic having you and chatting to you.
No worries, my pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great. I absolutely love, I was saying this the other day, I love talking to industry people, because you're on the ground, and it's great kind of seeing how you're getting up to, you know, what's happening. And as I say, you know, the fact that you've got businesses open is fantastic, because we can learn so much from our friends out in Australia and New Zealand that are open, of what to do and what not to do. So yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. We will see you all next week. We have Alex back next week for our next Timely Fit class. If you have any other questions or anything else, just pop them in the comments box, and we'll answer them. Both Haylee and myself will be there to kind of answer any questions that you might have, and we'll see you all soon. Bye everybody.
See you later.